Right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to my workshop today, which is called Stop Merely Existing and Start Enjoying. This is a great add-on to what I went through last week, my workshop about finding out what were your top values, and from that, choosing one thing that's going to then help you, if you make it into a habit, to support that highest value, so that then it becomes a habit that you continue for the rest of the year. That's because it's really important to you, rather than just you start it as a best intentions January type of thing and then you just fall off the wagon. So then to build onto that, what we're going to go through today is an exercise which I just called 2 buckets. And this is a way to help to make more space for that new habit that you are going to start creating and repeating, because there are some really important reasons as to why when we start new things, we don't end up following through and we fall off the wagon pretty quick. So the point of this exercise really is because often we get so bogged down in the day-to-day stuff that, one, we wouldn't know what we want to do if we did have spare time. So therefore we don't even have that even in the back of our minds, let alone the forefront of our minds. So that might be, say, a hobby or that you've never tried or that you'd like to start doing. It might be photography or something like knitting or painting, who knows, whatever that thing is. It's like it's not even on your register, on your radar at all, because it's like you're so bogged down with what do I just need to get through today. So they're the things that we think of as being in our bucket number one, is all those things we get bogged down with. Another reason is when we're so overloaded, when you try something new for yourself, it impacts on those burdens and those commitments that you already have. So that's where, like, you're putting it into this new habit, into bucket number one, which is full of all these burdens. So then as soon as you do that once or twice, so maybe if it's so doing healthy food prep for the week on a Sunday, that you carve out some time to do then that. But then that means that everything else is out for the rest of that day, or perhaps even it puts you behind for the week. So then you have that resentment and then go, well, this isn't going to work. So we're going to help with that process. And then number three would be that over time, that bucket of burdens, that bucket number one, has just increased over time. So what this can be part of is a bit like an audit, like having that cupboard or your wardrobe that's full of stuff that's built up over time and you haven't looked at it for years, to really clean it out. So this is a way of clearing out and just checking, is everything in that bucket number one that's full of responsibilities, does it really need to be there? And another element to bucket number one is that that can also, what I'd love you to put in there too, in your list of things that go into bucket number one, things that run you down, that might sap your energy, those sorts of things, is that could even be things like pain. Because when you're in pain, that just makes everything else take longer. It makes everything harder. So some of those invisible things, and they can also be emotions, like it might be anxiety, overwhelm, depression, any of sadness, grief, any of those emotions too, because if you don't acknowledge them, it's really easy to just think, oh, it's just me, I'm hopeless, I just take a long time to do everything, everyone else seems to cope okay, but that's not actually the case. So let's get stuck into it. Okay, so let's go to, I'm just gonna make sure we're on the right slide here. Right, so I've explained a lot of this already. So this is our 2 buckets. Number one, I call it, gets filled up with the things that are your commitments and the everyday stresses and strains. And they're the things that will put pressure on you mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, in all those ways, just in order to maintain. It might even be people, places, your workplace perhaps, or toxic friends, family members perhaps, that really sort of pull you down. It might even be things like, I've had some clients, because I love doing this work with all my 10 Keys clients especially, is things like being in environments with too much noise, being in really busy environments or smoky, things like that. So a lot of those things that you can start to list off, that bucket can be as big as you want, because the exercise is for you to then write down everything that goes into bucket number one for you. Again, like I said before, pain might be another one. So when you take stock of all those things, then you start to know what you're working with and what you might be able to start just releasing and letting go of. Okay, so I've labeled that like with the chores, things you do for others, people pleasing, pain, or negative things. Then you've got bucket number two, which is the stuff that fulfills you and lights you up. And it's often the neglected one or the more empty one that we don't really have time to fill. So this is the one that is all about you, for you, creates balance in your life, it's nourishing and it's positive. So they could be daily habits. It might be that you do something for yourself. It might be even better that you do it first thing in the morning and you do it for yourself, which is giving you a message that you are number one and you are important. It could be moments of gratitude, a laugh with somebody, a hobby. It might be your pets. It could be an event or a holiday, just feeling satisfaction, contentment, even just getting hugs. So the key with this is to empty out some of the things out of bucket number one so you can start feeling you've got room to start connecting with yourself to start filling bucket number two. And a key here is what I find happens a lot is that if you're trying to and starting with something new, like a New Year's resolution, that feels more like a chore than a benefit. So if you feel like you should lose 5 kilos, but actually it's not resonating with you. It's like, oh, I know I should. It'd be healthier for me, and I'd fit into my old clothes, that type of thing. But you're not actually feeling compelled to do it. It's not part of your highest values. Then chances are really it's just a chore. So that goes into bucket number one. It overflows, and that's the first thing you're going to stop doing. Okay. So then I've got some questions here, and just to let you know, I will upload this workbook for you so you can download it and then use these questions to do in your own time. So in bucket number one, this is just to get you thinking. So like, okay, first of all, actually, I'm going to show you the next one. So this is your bucket. This is an example of what might go in there. So food shopping, cooking, housework, ironing, being the kids' taxi, maybe managing your pain, perhaps headaches, bad sleep, alcohol. That alcohol could be tied to your bad sleep, perhaps not eating regularly, not drinking enough water, taking work home or working late, going to bed later than 10 p.m, social media scrolling, procrastinating, eating out and drinking with certain friends that maybe is not in alignment with really what you want to be doing these days, because maybe it's keeping you stuck in old habits that you really know that you need to get out of. And also another really common one I find is clutter and being disorganized at home, which mentally can just feel like chaos, and that creates that overwhelm. So they're just some that I've had clients share with me, but this list is anything for you that, as I mentioned before, like smoky environments, loud environments, any of those sorts of things. Add everything that you can think of that for you, if you think about in a day, in a week, what am I exposed to? What really runs my battery down? And that's what wants to go into this bucket. And that's where I've got these questions as prompts if you're just finding it difficult to come up with more than just a few. So it can be the who's in your life, what's in your life, feelings that you have. There might be negative feelings, that type of thing. Things that you don't like doing that you would love to not have to do. So that's where I think sometimes it can be that we're still doing stuff that we don't need to be doing anymore, or perhaps we just need to learn to say no more often. Maybe that might be even the habit that you, at the end of this exercise, might want to take on, that before you immediately say yes to someone asking you to do something, pause. And then perhaps you can say no. And that just starts to help you to empty out that bucket number one. It can be quite simple like that, as much as it can be challenging in the moment to do it. Then we've got bucket number two. And this one holds all the things that fulfill you, light you up, make you feel like life is more than just about commitments and chores. So again, we've got a list of questions that can help to prompt you to come up with the things that would make you feel better. And then here's an example with some of the answers I get from clients that go into their bucket number 2, their love bucket. So this is like a clean, tidy and organized home, because then they feel relaxed and calm. Daily stretching and gentle exercise, which for them equals no pain. Quiet time alone to recharge. Maybe it's reading, might be crime fiction, date night with their partner, a beach walk or being out in nature, a monthly massage, catching up with friends, yoga or meditation, time to prep your own healthy food, even if it's just like snacks. And it's just one thing that they make up, but it means that it's snacks organized for the week. They might bake their own muesli bars or their own granola or something that they can freeze. It doesn't have to be, it's for all their meals of the week. It can be just one thing. Then good quality sleep definitely can fill up your bucket about self-love. Feeling relaxed, just having some quiet time. Might be sewing, photography, or some other hobby. I was also thinking hockey or netball or some other perhaps social sport, or start running. Gosh, could be anything that would just be maybe something you haven't done for years, or it's been on your mind off and on. But now is the time that you could actually make it happen. So then just finish it up. This is pretty much it. So it's a nice and simple process. So now it comes to the pointy end. So now it's your action plan. So what's one thing you're going to stop in order to create space in bucket 1? So that stops overflowing and then keeping you in that stuck pattern. So one thing you can stop, maybe it is the thing of, rather than saying yes, pausing. Because also in negotiation too, that space in a conversation, if someone's asked you to do something and you just pause rather than immediately say yes, it allows space for that person who's requesting something from you to actually also ponder, is it reasonable for me to be asking you to do that for me? And sometimes I might actually go, oh, actually, no, don't worry, I'll do it. I see that a lot of time in the workplace, but also with kids, or with partners, that rather than saying yes, you'll do it, that you're giving them an opportunity to realise no, they can do it themselves. And then the other part is the one thing you're going to start. So, and that's something out of that bucket number 2, that self-love bucket, something that's going to be for you to give you more balance, that's nourishing and positive for you. So I would love to hear from you what has come out of this exercise when you do it and what you're going to start doing, because that's part of my job, is to help my clients with accountability, to not only be the one that they come to tell me what they want to do, and I help them, guide them through that process, but also for when there's roadblocks, there's curveballs, there's stuff that happens in life that might get them, have a bit of a hiccup or to stop for some reason, that I can help them get back on track. So if you need more help getting on track or getting past those first hurdles that come up in that process, let me know. Let's have a call. I do my 20-minute discovery calls exactly for that reason, to see how I can help you in making your life more healthy, and also to create a lifestyle where you can be content in your own skin.